Con of the brave, we are all as one. We fight for the day of the morning sun. We are not prey, we are on the hunt. Run, run, run.
Coming at lightning speed, anyone fighting me, better be ready for death, they invited flee. You will address me king, who am I being? New on the scene, but really irrelevant means what? Nothing, ready to team up with the Avengers and clean up. Anyone challenging, he's nuts. Searching by radium need cups, hidden away, so what they are coming to play.
Hello everyone, Kaiser here, and today I have a new video, which will be the first video of Black History Month. So if you remember when I first made my custom cyborg figure, you know that I also did that for Black History Month. And for this year, I wanted to do a little bit more with Black History Month in terms of customs. So whether it be reviewing or talking about which custom figures I make, I do want to put out more videos for this month, especially for more African American characters that I want to make. And with that, my first character is actually going to be Barret from Final Fantasy. And while I don't talk about it a lot, I do like the Final Fantasy series from what I've seen my brother and my uncle play. And I don't know, I just like Barret as a character. He was one of the first black video game characters that I've seen, and I really like him. So with that, let's get into the video. So here is my custom Barret figure, and I have to say I really like how this one came out. And a fun fact about this custom, while most customs that I make usually take me a few days, maybe 2 to 3, I finished this custom in 1.
I'm fast as fuck, boy.
So yeah, surprisingly this custom was actually really easy to make, which I didn't think since there were a few problems that I ran into while making it, but I'll go through that once we get into the figure. Starting with the head, which I can hopefully just take off. There we go. Oh, I should mention that this figure was made from a Gears of War figure. So one of the things that I wanted to do for him was scale him down a bit so he can fit in a little bit better with 6-inch action figures. But again, I'll go into that once I talk more about the figure. So now, starting with the head, it is just the original figurehead. All I really did was, I should say that he did have a headband, so all I did was Dremel that down and sanded it down to make it look more natural. Then I sculpted the hair, which I also have to say came out really well. I didn't really do much to the face since it already does kind of look like Barret. Excuse me. So all I did was dry brush, if you can see, dry brush a beard and everything. So yeah, it came out really well. For the body, starting with the upper body, you can see that the armor that the Gears of War characters wear, I turned into a vest. All I really did was cut a slit into the armor there so that, you know, you could see Barret's chest. And that was actually one of the problems I ran into with the NECA Gears of War figures. They had this really noticeable gap in the middle here, so I had to cover that up with some clay while also preserving the ab crunch, so you know he could still move that way. So that was kind of hard to do. Aside from that, it's not really repainted. All I did was cover this part up with tape and painted it black. For the armor slash vest, I really liked how that looked for Barret, so all I did was keep a few details from the original, like this arm part here, and on the back. I kept that, and I painted the rest of it brown to resemble his original vest. So yeah, that was fun. For the arm, at least for this part here, that's completely untouched. I did try to do his tattoo. I wouldn't say that it's good, but dang it, I tried my best. For this other arm, you can see that it's a little bit painted silver, and that's to kind of give homage to the Advent Children design. That's another thing I should mention. When it came to what design I wanted for him, there were a few, and I was considering going with the Advent Children, but in the end I decided to go with the original design, more so this design from what I assume is the Final Fantasy remake. So yeah, the belt is completely untouched. But for the legs, here's what I did. So, actually, let me put the head back on so it's less weird. So for the legs, like I said, I wanted to scale them down, and since they have big, bulky leg armor at the bottom, I didn't really want that for Barret. Like I said, I wanted to keep it like the original. So what I did was I heated up the legs down here, took them off, and took a different pair of legs, or at least the boots, and stuck them on the figure after I sanded it down and painted it. And then I sculpted over the joints here without hindering any articulation, and then I painted it green with a little bit of dry brushing of black. So yeah, that took a while, but like I said, I think it came out really well. I was even able to continue the pattern from the original pants onto the sculpted parts. And aside from this little bullet pouch here and this pouch here, that's unpainted, but everything else is. Now, if you're wondering if this is based off the original, where's his gun arm? And that's another thing. I did make it, and I really like how it came out. So here it is. And I did kind of go with my own design for this, but like I said, really like how it came out. Pretty much, I took a barrel gun from one of the guns I had and glued it onto this Lego piece. And then I took a scope because I did kind of want to have different types of gun parts here. Glued that on, and then I took this strap piece and glued it on there, and then I gave it, painted it black, went over it with some silver, and a little bit of dry brushing of brown. And for this hand, it is removable, and you are able to stick the gun right into that hole. And I have to say, he does look really cool with the gun hand on, because as we all know from the intellectual source of Hellsing Ultimate,
bitches love cannons.
So for articulation, the head can go side to side, and it can go up and down a little. The arms can go that far out, can go in a 360, and if you can see here, it does have a butterfly joint, and it also has a bicep swivel, but it's like, if you can see all the way up here, so it's possible to use it, it's just really hard to. The elbow can only go up that far despite it being a double jointed elbow. He has a waist crunch, not waist crunch, ab crunch. It can go that far forward, that far back. He has a waist swivel, but for some reason, mine was like really tight, almost like it was glued in, and I had to like force it to actually move so I can use it. So that was kind of a problem. The legs can go that far forward, that far back. He does have a side swivel, which is nicely covered up by the armor. He does have a knee bend, and on the original it would probably only go like that far since of all the armor, but thanks to this new leg, it can go at least at 90 degrees. And also has a boot swivel. So yeah, he also has an ankle, and if I can get it to work, you can see it's kind of tight, but he does have an ankle swivel, and it can go up and down. So the articulation is pretty good. It is kind of limited due to how bulky the figure is, but for a character like Barret, I think it's enough, and you're still able to get some good poses with him. So for a height comparison, here he is standing next to my custom Batman figure and a Marvel Legends Spider-Man. If you can stand up, there we go. And you can see that while he is taller, I still say it fits in well with Marvel Legends and DC Universe classic figures. Whenever I think of Barret, I do tend to think of him as kind of being like, you know, this huge buff dude. So I think it works here pretty well. And for some other black characters, here he is next to my custom Cyborg figure. And here he is standing next to Miles Morales. And you can see that he definitely is the tallest out of all of them. And even though technically Cyborg should be the taller one, since he is like 6 feet and 7 inches, and Barret is 6.5 inches, or 6.5 feet. I still say it works fairly well here. So yeah, that is my custom Barret figure, and unfortunately, I don't have any Final Fantasy figures to compare him to. I would love to make those, though. I hope that's one of the figures I get to make in the future. But yeah, I do love how he came out, and I do love how relatively simple I was, how relatively fast I was able to make him. I do hope you enjoy him as well. I do hope you enjoy the videos I make for Black History Month. And with that, I will show off some pictures, and I'll see you guys next time.